Hello, and welcome to Between Friends. I'm Eileen Roche, co-founder of Dime and a longtime embroiderer. Today's episode is a kickoff for my retirement extravaganza. So what's a retirement extravaganza? Well, it's a celebration of a career. And in this case, it's a celebration of a career spent in the machine embroidery industry for almost 30 years. And it's not the end today because I'm going to celebrate this over the course of the summer by chatting with industry leaders about, well, the last 30 years. We hope to shed some light on how innovation has changed our industry and your experience with machine embroidery. And I can say with confidence that the people you'll meet here over the next 8 weeks have been devoting their life to making your experience with machine embroidery better, more enjoyable, and more successful. Today, we're talking to two outstanding women. You're going to meet them one by one, and each have built their businesses by sharing their artistic talent, their teaching ability, and innovative techniques. As we chat with them, we'll learn how they got started and how their businesses evolved. I imagine we'll find they have a lot of similarities. And for one thing, they both run their businesses alongside their life partner, their husband. So imagine the challenges that could bring, right? But before we meet Christine Connor of Amalie Scott Designs and Patricia Gates of Purely Gates, we're going to take a look at today's sponsor. You know, we always have a product that sponsors our Between Friends, and today it's Polypatch Twill and its coordinating thread kits by Exquisite. So this twill is the twill that commercial embroiderers have been using for decades, and now it's available to the home embroiderer. Let's go over and take a look at some gorgeous patches that my team here has made for all of you to see. So if we can get that overhead cam, maybe I can do that. Did it bounce out? It bounced out. Okay, so we got a little technical difficulty, but in the meantime, I can show you the twill. It comes in 3 different colorways. We have the Brights. Is that our first one, right? The Brights. And it's a luscious collection of bright colors. We got purple, orange, and aqua, white, yellow, pink, you name it. And then we go to uniform, which kind of, the kind of dark colors that are popular for uniforms, but you'd be surprised the great background that these twill colors can make when you add some really beautiful thread to it. So let's see, we have a rich cocoa and a beige and maroon, navy, and then kind of a khaki and a dark green, I think, or black and gray. So next up, we have the uniform. No, not uniform, the athletic group. So this common colors that you see in sports, your royal blue, bright orange, red, and that gorgeous kind of Miami Dolphins aqua, right? And purple. So now we really do have the overhead cam, and I can get this view so you can see. Okay, so aren't they gorgeous? Look at these patches. So each of these patches are made from our Polypatch twill, whether it's the uniform, the brights, or the athletics. This collection is from our friends at OESD. Look at this. We're going to get the collection name up on the screen in just a moment. It has some great Western designs, right? Look at this cowboy boot. But these are just simple designs that we here at Dime turned into a patch with our software and that Polypatch twill. I love these. And then the book lover collection, we have some patriotic designs, some road trip, and boy, the 2 ladies we're going to meet today spend a lot of time on the road, so they can talk about which highway is better. Do they like the I-5, the 66, or 95 going north and south on the East Coast? Twill is fabulous for name badges that don't have to just be rectangles, right? In our software, we have the ability to type out a name, create an outline that mimics the outline shape of the word, and then turn it into a patch. So we love these patches. And the more I play with patches, the more I love them. They're easy to do. And then you can just place them onto anything you want. You can either sew them on or use our patch maker kit to put them on. So that's our big, that's our sponsor today. And we just hope that you take advantage of that. We'll revisit it again at the end of the program. But for now, let's bring in Christine Connor from Amelia Scott Designs. And if you don't know her, she's the inventor of edge-to-edge embroidery. So welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me, and happy retirement again, Eileen.
Thank you, Christine. You know, it's the best is yet to come, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you've been in the industry how many years now? I heard you telling our friend Patricia earlier.
Going on 16 years now.
16 years. That's amazing. And you started, I remember kind of when you started, you were working in a quilt shop, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I remember when you started, you were working in a quilt shop?
I was working at Quilt Beginnings. I worked there for 9 years.
In Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah. Yes. I remember you coming out for an event one time.
I did. Oh my goodness, it was so much fun. It's a beautiful shop, and they're still there, right?
Yes, it's still there. New owners, but it's still there.
Well, that's great. So tell me, you were working in the store, and what was your impetus like to just start this whole edge-to-edge quilting?
I had 2 kids going into college at the same time, and we didn't have much in savings, as much as we wanted to have in savings. I had an old SUV, 17 years old, and the thing I loved most about working in the quilt shop was making the samples, but they had to be professionally quilted, which meant writing a check. And, so one day I asked the owner, I said, if I can come up with something that looks like a long armer did it and did it myself, is that acceptable? And she said, I don't care as long as it looks professional. And so that's what I did. I started digitizing these designs so that I could quilt my own quilts, hang them up there. And then one day one of the girls asked me what design she used. And I looked at the quilt and I said, no, that's mine. And she's like, no, you didn't do it. So I had to tell her like 3 times, yes, I did do it. And anyway, she came back a couple weeks later with a quilt where she had used my design down one column and then free motion down the next column. And I said, well, your quilt's pretty, but why didn't you connect them? And she said, I don't know how. And I thought, book. Because Mark, my husband, and I had always wanted to write a book. And I thought, well, there it is right there, laid out in front of me.
So you always wanted to write a book with your husband on any particular topic, or that was just a goal?
It was just a goal. I didn't know what it was going to be, but he has 2 degrees in English. So I knew we were both, I was an educator, and we used to go to Fat Frank's and have chili and margaritas. And we would talk about how we would love to do something, have some kind of book with multimedia, where we bring in video. And I mean, everything we're doing now is what we used to dream about doing. So it's really pretty fascinating that, I guess, when you sit there and you talk about your dreams a lot, they come true.
They do come true. And I love that. I absolutely love that thought. Sometimes it is just the act of putting these thoughts, these dreams into words. And if you go a step further and putting it down on pen and paper, next thing you know, you can find that piece of paper 5 years later and, you're doing it. It's kind of magical, right?
I'm laughing at that because we have legal pads all over this house, and occasionally I'll clean up. Like, can I get rid of this? And I'll look through it and I'll say, that was a great idea. We should do that.
Right. Some of your best ideas. So do you ever have like writer's block or a creative block where you just are out of ideas?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm like, I need to come up with something new. The markets are coming up. I have nothing, that happens. Absolutely.
And what makes something spring force? Is it the deadline approaching?
No, I do work okay on under deadlines, but I just kind of like to go at my own little pace, my own little,
Yeah.
beat. Something will come to me. I'll just go to sleep and just need an idea, need an idea, need an idea.
Right.
And
Right.
then a couple days later, I'll get something.
Yeah. We find inspiration, I imagine. You find inspiration everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So what's your favorite class to teach? Because you've taught a lot over the years.
I like teaching the core, edge to edge core class because I don't know if you know this, but I'm a classical guitarist too. And when you play classical guitar, you have to play it over and over and over and over to get it right. And I have this class where we, stitch out one design, we connect it, and they do it over and over and over. And everybody leaves being a master at what they have learned because they've done it over and over and over. And I just absolutely love walking around the room and showing them, did you know you have this button on your machine? Did you know you could do this? And they're just so excited because they learned something more about their machine and, the edge-to-edge process, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it is, I'm really glad that you brought that up because when I have taught like how to use the weightless quilter and how to quilt with our hoops and so forth, it is that first hooping of every quilt. And still today for me, it's that first hooping because it's pretty much in the center of the quilt. And you have to get that right. And so that's the most stressful for me. And then once you have that down, it is just a matter of, over and over and over again. And by the time you finish, you really are a master of it.
I always tell everybody the first 5 designs, 4 in one column, and then the next one where we connect. I said, we're going to go through those 4 designs at a snail's pace.
Oh.
And after that, I'm going to cut you loose. And I promise you, by the time you get to that 5th design, that light bulb's going to go off and you say, I got it. Yeah, because that first column has to be, everything's built on that.
Right. Like this week, I was making a video with a new quilt, a new top-of-the-line machine, a new prototype hoop, a lot of new things, not all of the prototypes in premium condition, like to go to market. So sometimes when we're testing stuff, it's not as wonderful as the final, it can be very frustrating. And, it was really challenging. And, I teased my coworker, Gloria Cardoza. I was like, because she doesn't really quilt yet. And I said, oh, doesn't this just make you want to quilt, in a sarcastic way? But you know what? By the time you get to the second column, it's all easy peasy. Everything's flowing fine.
It is. Very easy peasy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see.
So Eileen, I want to tell you about this quilt behind me because it's not a normal quilt. My mom actually made that 30 years ago. It kind of made me want to get an embroidery machine because she had an old memory. I say it's old because it's 30 years old now. A Janome memory craft. And the designs, they came on a little card and you got like 10 designs on a card. And the designs, like I've got one here. This is my daughter. She used to go and get old blue jeans from the garage sales and cut them down. But these were the designs that you would get. You get like 10 of them for $120 on a card. And we used to sit there and say, oh, it's so pretty, Mom. And it was like big. And we've come so far.
Oh my God. It's amazing how delighted we were to spend that kind of money on 10 embroidery designs. And the machine couldn't do anything. It couldn't rotate. It couldn't mirror image.
No.
It's amazing. We're just getting some nice comments here. Let's see. Tracy Edwards says, we love having you teach at Mold Queens in Tempe. So were you out there recently?
Yeah, I'm coming back on Valentine's Day.
That's
See you there.
A lovely way. Yeah.
It would only come if he bought me dinner.
Okay. And I imagine you're going to take your husband, right?
Yeah, he will. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know if you've ever traveled on Valentine's Day. There's no place to eat on Valentine's.
Oh, I imagine. There's no place to eat locally. So I imagine on the road, it'll be the same thing. And so we're getting so many lovely comments about happy retirement and all of that. And really, thank you all so much. I just want you to know that I'm going to be here for, a little while longer. We're just kind of making it a long celebration. I've been babbling about machine embroidery for a long time, so we're going to babble about retirement for a little while too. But we really do have a lot of fun stuff in store for the next couple.
I want to tell you, one of the things when I go out and teach and I show people how to use the magnetic hoop, your snap hoop monster, I have probably one of the things I hear the most is that you should get an award for that.
Oh, how lovely.
I don't know if anybody told you that, but I hear that over and over and over. Somebody should give you an industry award for that invention.
Well, we'll just make our own patch. We'll just make our own patch, right? There you go. It's so true. That hoop, that invention really did change how we use embroidery machines, right? Because you were quilting in a standard hoop. And when I saw your technique, I like wept. I thought, oh my goodness, this poor woman, she has taken that quilt off the machine 50 times.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And, you know, when I showed my mom how, you know, when I came up with that snap hoop slide that I do, that was a big game changer too, because now when I'm at my quilting a quilt and the ladies that come into my classes, it just really feels like we're just, you know, hit the button stitch, slide it down, hit the button stitch.
Right.
You know, that was all to help my 89-year-old mother.
Right. Your 89-year-old mother. But here, look, listen to some of these comments. So Celeste says she remembers she had a Husqvarna Designer one. It would take a 3.5-inch floppy, right? And that was an upgrade.
Yes.
Because we started with the little memory cards.
Yeah. This little hard.
Yeah. And that was really something. So let's see. And Ann Hendricks said,
there's a card. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Awesome. Yeah. Here, take me down, Gloria, so we can get a better view of that. Look at that.
Yeah, and that was like my first embroidery machine right there. And I think I upgraded it during my training.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And here's Diane. She says that she started in 1993 with an Asante 1. And the memory cards were $129 then, with probably 10, maybe 12 designs, right?
Yeah.
Not much
and they
more.
weren't great.
No, they weren't, but we didn't know. I mean, we didn't know.
You know, like a little star.
A little star. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, like we'd probably give this away for free.
Right. Oh, over and over again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Laurie Albright, she started on a Memory Craft 8000. So did I. That's a Janome machine. Is that where you started too, Christine?
No, I started on a FOF because Kathy, my quilt store was, and I had to save up. I had to wait for a trade-in. I couldn't afford them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Boy, when I got my hands on one.
Yeah, I believe it. And, you know, but that's a great way to enter this hobby, right? Or industry, is by buying a used machine. Because I will say that the machines today are, and really have always been workhorses. They last, they don't break down. You know, when you look at some of those stitch counts, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million stitches, they just go on and on, right?
Yeah. Didn't the machines I was trying to think, didn't the machines, like they couldn't handle a design if it had like more than 100,000 stitches or something, like a limit on them?
Yeah.
I used to think, well, what design would have 100,000 stitches? Yeah.
Well, you know, there's a lot of stitches, like this rodeo patch that I stitched. I mean, I think that was 49,000 stitches. Yeah, I've definitely done things that are 100,000 stitches.
No, but back then, you know,
back then.
You get 100,000 stitches with a star.
Right. And then, you know, do we still have machines today that you can't use a USB that's has a larger data than 2 gigs, right? Some won't read them, you know, so that's a little bit of a challenge, finding the right thing.
Yeah.
Let's see, just seeing if there's any comments that we want to share. There's so many lovely thoughts of people. Chris Kavanaugh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. And we'll miss the Thursday afternoons too, but you know, life goes on, right? I say, this is what runs in my head. I say, these are the good old days, but the best is yet to come. And, you know, I firmly believe that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you will be missed. You will be greatly missed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been so much fun. What an honor to have this career and to meet the people that I've met, like Christine yourself. And now we meet people online. But I used to travel with my stitching sister, Marie Zeno, who is going to join me here on this platform in May. She's actually going to come, I mean, not in May, in July. She's going to fly in and we'll have a couple of days together. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll do that together. Yeah. But you know, right, when you travel, you must just love connecting with both the sewing machine dealers and the students in your class.
You know, I do. I really like connecting with the students in my class and getting to know the dealers too. I hate getting there. I'll be honest. I absolutely hate traveling.
Do you?
You know, so often we have to get up at like 2 a.m. to get on that first airplane and then to do a trunk show. It's hard.
It is hard. It's hard. And it can wear you out.
Yeah.
And it can kind of sap your passion and your enthusiasm for what you're doing. So when I often think of literally the rock stars, you know, the musicians who travel the country and every night they come out on stage generating all that energy and enthusiasm. Boy, that's a tough gig. That's really tough. Yeah, I know they make a lot of money. They have a lot of help, all of that. But still, that human body has to do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many lovely people saying such lovely.
But, you know, when I get to the classroom and I start working with the students, it just makes it all worthwhile because they're just the people, you know, and I've worked in the elementary education, I've worked in the food industry, and I've worked in the embroidery industry. And you get nasty people in food industry. Let me tell you, you get really nasty people when you work in a restaurant. You get kind of some upset parents from time to time, but I have never found a nasty quilt person, embroidery, you know, they're just the sweetest people. So kudos to you guys out there.
Absolutely. It's a lovely industry. And what I found when Marie and I were, you know, traveling, that if someone was out of sorts, it was usually something heavy on their heart that they were carrying. It wasn't anger at, you know, you as the educator or the dealer or whatever. They were just, you know, had a burden from home that you can't just leave, right? Yeah, because we all carry something. But, you know, what a fun time to be in a room with other people who enjoy the same craft, right? In machine embroidery. Because, you know, if you have friends or in your church or your neighbors, most of them are probably not into machine embroidery, right? It's kind of a solitary sport. So it's a precious moment to all get under the same roof and enjoy that together for sure. So we are going to Tempe in Arizona. What else is next?
Where else am I going? To Missouri, to going to go to Quilt Market this year, Missouri, back to Boise, Idaho. You know, we're a few more travels.
Good. So Kathy Purdy, she said she missed the start. She came in a little late. And so do I understand she teaches how to design edge to edge in person and also online. So tell us a little bit more about Amelie Scott Designs. So for those of you, for the viewers who are kind of new to you, Christine, can't imagine that, but maybe they are.
Well, I wrote the book called Edge to Edge Quilting on Your Embroidery Machine. And this basically, it's been a top seller for over 10 years now. And basically what it allows you to do is take one quilting design and connect it all the way across your quilt. So you have the look of a long arm quilter. And that's what I'm known for. And then I've written a build a quilt book, a custom quilting book, a pro. We've taken this book up to the pro, and that allows you to resize your designs so that they fit within an area on your quilt. So you can also have border designs. And we are able to do that all because of Dime by OESD's wonderful software, Toolshed.
Awesome. Yes. And you've been so innovative in that, helping us, you know, create that whole new program. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. People are really loving that. We have Marianne Dublagla, who comes to a lot of our events, and I'm sure she's also an edge-to-edge user. She says that she guesses her designs in machine embroidery magazines will now be collector's items, and wishing me all the best. Thank you so much, Marianne. But yeah, they are collector's items for sure, right? No more print.
What they're worth.
Print. Yeah.
I've got quite the
we had the honor of having you in our pages, Christine. Remember, you did a series of instructions on edge to edge. You did a table runner, the seashells. Remember, that was our last summer, and you participated in that. Yeah. So here go ahead.
Oh, they did too, but
I think you did too. I think it was several.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really fun to have you in our pages. So I'm just going to pipe in right now to Lisa Matthews. She says she remembers watching a video of me saying that after NZ passed, that you would provide education, machine embroidery, honor her, bring so. Well, I just want you to know, Lisa, that next week I have a guest that is, her name is Deanna Springer, and she was Nancy Zeman's right-hand woman and still runs today Nancy Zeman Productions, among other things. So tune in next week. It'll be a lot of fun to find out what's happening in that world for sure. Let's see. And Dory Hobson, she says, we could go back to that cruise. We did. Have you done a cruise, Christine, and taught on the sea?
No, I'd love to do a cruise. Hint, hint.
Yeah, somebody out there, call up Christine and take her on a cruise, because you could fill a boat. It's all about filling the boat, right? Yeah. Marianne DeBaglia, she also loves Christine and all your designs, and she has run into you at Pins and Needles because you're a fellow Ohioan. Let's see. Let's see. Darlene wants to know any pictures you could share of the edge-to-edge seashell table runner. I'd have to run around to another corner, and I'm sorry, there's nobody here to assist with that. Sorry, Darlene, but thanks. I should have had that prepped, right? And let's see. So Jesse Ray says, where are you going? Are you leaving us? Well, Jesse, I'm about to retire towards the end of the summer. So we're just doing an extravaganza all summer. We're going to be meeting with different industry leaders and just chatting about the innovation that's occurred in the past 30 years in embroidery. So, I'm getting old, all this gray, you don't get it out of a bottle. People don't choose that out of a bottle, it just comes naturally. Right, Christine?
Yeah, just comes.
It comes, yeah. So,
but it's funny.
Go ahead.
You're coming in at the back, and mine's coming in at the top because I'm still very much brown under.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? And my mom's hair it framed. She wore it short and around, and it just framed all the gray. And her back was really pretty dark. So I'm kind of mimicking that, but I'm much lighter than she was at this age. So let's see, So what would you say? Tell us a little bit about, you have a family business. I mean, right now it's you and your husband, but, your kids were involved and so forth. So tell us a little bit about those pros and cons.
Well, we are a family business. As Mark, myself, and Sean has come back to join us. Some of you may have, if you have Expansion Pack 4, there is a kid who has photobombed my photo on the cover, and that is him. And he's just amazing. He's doing a lot of digitizing. He's very computer savvy. And so he's just, I had to kind of show him a little bit about doing it, get him up to speed, and he is just like taking off like a rocket. And yeah, we're just working real hard, working every day. We're in the probably coming up soon, and we're going to start doing more online classes.
Oh, good.
And that's always fun because we have all the gear. It's all set up down here, and we'll probably do that. And
So that's like an academy, right? People can sign up and they can take that at any time, or is there a specific date? How does that work?
We'll probably do it both. We'll do it live over Zoom. We've done a lot of Zoom classes, and a lot of people have told us ours are the best Zoom classes out there. We just have it set up so we have 2 cameras in front of the embroidery machine, and I'm a big believer that you need to see what I'm seeing. So the camera's focused on my view, and then a table for showing bird's eye views of stuff. And
good.
So we have ways where we do it live Zoom, and then we have at your own pace. We'll do at your own pace.
And then students, are they sewing in their own home along, or are they watching and learning and then, repeating your steps probably after viewing? What would you say?
Well, both. We've had people who just sit there and audit and listen. to the whole class. And then we've had people who I give them time to do it because I'm doing it right with you. So I know, like when I finish, I give you about 5-10 more minutes because I'm and what I do, but and then they finish and then we come back and go to the next step.
Oh,
so
that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. And your website is Amelia Scott Design. So all this information is there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, good. Well, Christine, I have another guest that's going to join me, and I just wanted to thank you so much for your contributions to our industry. It's been a joy working with you and your husband, Mark. And I really feel your edge-to-edge quilting has transformed quilting with your embroidery machine. It's a fabulous technique, and I feel bad for the long armers because the embroiderers aren't using them to quilt their quilts anymore. We're doing our own.
King, they still do. But thank you so much for having me on, Eileen. And it's a pleasure working with you over the years. And like I said earlier, we're going to miss you something terribly. You've been like a legend in our industry.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And, I'm leaving on very positive terms, and I have a phone. People call. I'm happy to jump back in when needed. So we're not, burning any bridges here. Always looking forward to future things. So thanks, Christine, for joining me. You take care, and thank your husband, Mark, for his time also. Okay. All right. Isn't she great? Oh my goodness. What an innovator. She makes that edge-to-edge quilting so easy and just builds confidence in all of those who attempt to do it for the first time. I think you'll be amazed if you use her technique, and right afterwards, you'll be successful. It's really amazing. But next up, I have another dear friend, and that's Patricia Gates from Purely Gates. Now, Purely Gates is the website and the creator of Mylar embroidery. In fact, they trademarked that term, and their designs just sparkle and shine. So let's bring in Patricia. Hello, Patricia.
Hey, Eileen. So good to see you.
So great to have you here. Look at your display. It's gorgeous.
I always feel like I'm living in a booth.
Yeah, well, actually, I was on your website, and you are living in a booth. Before we get started on anywhere, I'm going to say, this winter, you went from California to Arizona to New Mexico to Daytona Beach, Florida, to Atlanta, to Lakeland, Florida, to Pennsylvania, to Cleveland, to Kentucky, to Idaho, to Salt Lake City, to Colorado. And next week, you're in Kansas City.
Yep.
Do you drive show to show? So
we
you
do
must map out like the whole year, like literally with a map. Do you do that?
I do. One of my hats is travel agent. So I've got to determine how long it's going to take us from point A to point B.
Yes.
Figure out the, hotels and, when setup day is and all of that. And sometimes we've got to leave the last day of the show after we load out and fill the van back up. Sometimes we got to leave that night just to make it to the next one. But yeah, the whole travel agent thing, takes a while to figure it out. But yes, we usually everybody's planning their year the year before because you got to get in there,
right.
Sign up, get moving, and just so you can get that year planned and know what's going on. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you don't have a motorhome.
We don't have a motorhome.
You don't have a motorhome.
We've got.
You travel with your dog, Bunny.
Bunny. Yep. She's still with us. She celebrated last week. Celebrated her 10th birthday.
Oh.
People are amazed how good she is in the booth, but that's her life. So that's what she does.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a really big van, tall and long, and almost has some room for luggage, but from flooring, pipe, drape, lights, you name it, pack it up.
So you're doing laundry on the road and everything?
No.
No? Okay.
When we get home for 4 or 5 days, that washing machine is running nonstop. We just came back from 4 weeks. Yeah. And so, you got to have the clean underwear. So we're pumping that through for the next 3 weeks that we're going to be on the road.
Because you mentioned to me this morning that I love this. You spend so much time on the road, you feel like you visit your home. We
visit our home.
Yep. And Linda Schoen wants to know, will you be at the Wisconsin Quilt Show? And I did see the great Wisconsin Quilt Show is on your list.
We'll be there.
Have you been there before?
Oh, yeah. I think 2017 was our first year
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that you go every year. It's a great show. And I wish I could go this year, but I can't. So anyway, I'm going to be up in that area 2 weeks prior, and it's a lot of schedule changing,
It's
but I
all
love
timing,
that
yeah.
show. That's Nancy Ziemans. So she created that with Wisconsin Public Television, and today it is just a phenomenal show. And September in Wisconsin is beautiful, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
really is.
I've got to say, inevitably, every load-in day, it rains.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we've loaded in Wisconsin without rain.
Yeah.
But,
That's
luckily,
about it.
it's nice during the show, though.
Yeah.
Nice during the show. So it doesn't prevent
Right.
anybody from coming. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Judy Brennan says you're going to be in Kansas City at the Regional Quilt Festival next week. So and she's looking forward to seeing you there again. That's nice.
We were driving home Sunday. We did a one shot so we could sleep in our bed from Colorado down to just south of Houston, and met two people on the road at the gas stations.
Mhm.
You Purely Gates?
Oh,
One lady goes, she goes, "Where are you coming from?" And I told her, and she goes, "Well, I'm going to Kansas City next week." I said, "I'll see you there."
oh, that's great.
So it's funny
great.
because our van is wrapped with the logo and everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
We
And I wonder who
can't hide.
designed that art.
Well,
Well, speaking of
husband.
husbands,
yeah. Yes. He does most of the drawing. I do a little bit of the drawing. I do all the digitizing. But
Okay.
yeah, most of what you see, my husband has drawn. So
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect collaboration. He's got
Oh,
his thing and I do my thing, but
yeah. Mhm.
it's funny. I mean, I have a picture of what I want to do in my head, and
Yeah.
he has another picture, and
Okay.
hopefully they come together.
Right.
So yeah, usually I have him draw one item, and he'll give it to me, and I'll digitize it. If we're feeling it, a collection comes out of that.
Yeah.
But if his mental image is not the same as mine, some altering happens.
Right.
It's like,
Somebody
you're doing
wins
it wrong.
out,
It
right?
needs to be like
Somebody
this.
wins out. Yeah.
But no, that rarely happens. He
Yeah.
does a great job. So it
Mhm.
works. And it's funny because he'll come and go, "Oh, wow." Because now he's seeing it in stitches in full
Yeah.
color with the Mylar and everything. So it's
Yeah.
funny to see the way it goes through the system there.
I'm so impressed with what you do with lettering. All of your lettering is so impressive. I mean, by adding the Mylar to it, but
That's Tom,
that is definitely Tom.
Mr. Font.
Yeah, and
He's
it's a rare talent. I mean, it's hard to work with fonts, and there are so many fonts, so it's hard to pare down and find which ones give the look and image that you're trying to
the fun.
convey. Yeah.
But he hand draws everything. Now it is
I'm not
on
surprised.
an iPad with the pencil, but he
Mhm.
hand draws everything. So that's what makes it
So
really cool, because it some of it is flowing over a design, or
Right. Yeah.
just
It's all
uniquely
shaped.
fitting within. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I drool
We
over
have a
that,
lot of
Tom,
fun.
just so you know. Mhm.
It's-
I drool over that for sure. Because, as working as an editor of a magazine, we spent a lot of time on typography, and we weren't that great at it. So
He used to be in advertising. So that's part of his wheelhouse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. The granddaughter loves the Pearly Gates boot. She belongs to FFA. Not sure what
Fabulous.
FFA is, but yeah.
Future Farmers of
Farmers
America.
of America. That's right. Thank
Yep.
you. That's
Yep.
right. Thank you.
Shame on you. Aren't you in Dallas?
I know. But I grew up at the Jersey Shore, and
Oh,
so
you couldn't tell.
yeah, I know. But my first real exposure to the rural, middle America was through Nancy Zeman and visiting her in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. And I mean, yes, we had farms in New Jersey, but I grew up at the beach. It was focused on boats and fishing and clamming and sailing and all that. It's just different. And I guess I'll share this. It's kind of embarrassing. And my husband also grew up on a farm, right? So anyway, we're flying together once, and I'm looking out the window, and I turned to him and I'm like, it's so amazing how those crops are in a circle pattern. And he just looks at me and he's like, that's irrigation. I had no idea. Literally, I had no idea. So, yeah.
We see a lot of that along the road.
Sure. But, you know, from the air, those are, anyway. Yeah.
Oh, you can still tell. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was 40-some years old, I think, when I really figured that out. But anyway, that's embarrassing. Oh, well, not my first embarrassing moment on air, and I can tell you that. Okay, let's see. What's Mickey Smith said? She's used the Purely Gates Mylar cruise design and put on the dime in the hoop quilt stand. We love to cruise. Oh, good for you, Mickey. Yeah. How about you? Patricia, have you done a cruise, a stitching cruise?
Not a stitching cruise.
No.
Tom and I have been on a cruise where I wished I had brought my machine with me, but we haven't done any where there's classes or anything like that.
Oh, that would be fun. You would enjoy that. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, yeah, it's my sister and I did 2 or 3, I think. Oh my goodness, we had so much fun. For you and for Marie and I mean, it is work. You know, you're in a ballroom that is on a lower deck, so there's no windows normally in that area. And, you know, you're working just as hard as if you were in Tempe, Arizona, right? And then you come up at lunch and you're like, oh, wait, this is a cruise. People are in bikinis and, you know, margaritas in their hand. They're having a ball.
Who knew?
But anyway, yeah. It's
kind of like a quilt show, quilt festival. We come out of the convention center. It's like, oh, wow, there's mountains.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You forget where you are. You know, I did something in Orlando once, and you get in the elevator and like at the end of the day, and people are like all sandy and suntan lotion. Well, maybe it wasn't Orlando, but it was at the beach. And, you know, beach chairs, umbrella in the elevator. And you're like, oh, well, don't get that all over me because you're in your embroidered clothes. And I don't know.
Yes, your embroidery clothes.
Yeah, there's a fun one from Marilyn York Reams. She says, we're so blessed to be a part of this amazing industry. Started almost 30 years ago running a local sewing machine dealer just to get a spool of thread. And she walked in and saw a machine sewing all by itself, and walked out with the first Baby Lock 4x4 embroidery machine. And life has never been the same. The condition of hoop envy crept in and has never left. You know hoop envy,
That's
right?
So true. So true.
Oh,
you
my
mean
goodness.
I don't have the biggest hoop? Well, let's take care of that.
There's another one. There's a bigger one. And Marilyn, thanks for your kind words. So sweet. Really nice to hear from you. But I'm going to be the first to admit, though, that bigger may not be best. Those really giant hoops it's okay for one hooping, but multiple hoopings, it's hard to rehoop them. Maybe it's
but
my
also everybody thinks they want that bigger hoop until they see the stitch count of the design, and if there's detail, the color changes.
Right.
So yeah.
It's a long sit. Long sit.
It's a long sit. You better have something else going on that you can pop in and change those threads.
Right.
It's
and like
commitment.
recently, I was testing some stuff and I had a problem. And so I took that hoop off to set it aside. And then I wanted to attach another hoop to kind of get through that trouble area and see if it was the design or what have you. Well, the design was so big, there was only one hoop, the biggest hoop that you could test in. So now that means I got to fill it with another giant piece of fabric. And anyway.
Yeah. Stabilizer.
Yeah, that's my problem. So I love those hot air balloons. We were talking about Arizona. I know in New Mexico, they have that fabulous festival. Is that what was the impetus for that beautiful collection?
Actually, yes. We have a suggestion list we get from customers, which is another fun thing about traveling. You know, forever growing. And that's been on the list quite a long time. We did Albuquerque for the first time 2 years ago, Tom.
Okay.
And we're like, well, now we got to do it. So what's funny about that is we had it in time for the beginning of the year with California, and then going through all the shows with it. We're hearing about, oh, did you know there was a balloon festival here? I mean, it's all over the country. I just associated it with, you know, New Mexico, but it's all over. Yeah. And that was fun. That cloud that cloud fabric I have had like forever, waiting
Okay.
for the perfect project,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And now you have it.
Now I have it. I can get over it now. And
Right. Yeah. It's gorgeous. It really is. Is there
Thank you.
Mylar behind the entire balloon?
Yes, I know it's hard to tell the lights and everything in there. And
Mm.
as people have come to our booth, what we hear the most of, wow, it's prettier in person than it is on the
Oh,
website. And it's just a
that's-
way that your eye catches the light. But yes,
Yeah.
it's all the main balloon portion of that is full
Right.
Mylar. So it really illustrates that
Right.
technique
Yeah,
beautifully.
because Mylar glistens. It's not a sheen like a sheet of metal. It glistens as it moves, or if
Right.
you move, as the eye moves. It's because it's a subtle sparkle. And boy, you have really learned how to work that.
I've mastered my technique on that.
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing it. I still watch my needle go up and down when I'm stitching. I mean, it's really cool the way it turns out. So
Mhm.
when I'm digitizing, I decided ahead of time when I'm looking at what
Yeah.
Tom has given me, his drawing, I'm seeing those areas of Mylar. So
Right.
that's where they go. A lot of people will think, well, I think I'll make this Mylar. Well, no, kind of already did that for you.
Yes.
You don't get to
Right.
pick. I already decided, but it's still.
Well, you're the designer. Right.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's got a
Mhm.
special stitch fill in those areas that allow that Mylar to peek through. And we always refer to the Mylar as sparkle, not as a color, because all the
Mhm.
color is coming from your regular machine embroidery thread.
Right.
So yeah.
Which you use exquisite.
I do, and
Yeah.
it is absolutely exquisite.
Mhm.
And I've told you this before, Eileen. I was using this thread before y'all acquired it.
Right.
And when y'all acquired it, it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
someone I know, someone
Yeah. Right. We
So
can
it
make
was
things
wonderful.
happen.
Exactly, as well as the
Mhm.
stabilizer. So I
Right.
just transitioned into, we really didn't have to transition. It was like whoever I was getting it from now was the
Yeah.
transition. But it's fabulous. And our color change charts have those thread
Mhm.
numbers on there. So yeah.
Mhm.
So thank you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, it's been really, really wonderful. And here, Deborah Morgan, she says that she embroidered a cowboy boot on a t-shirt, washed and dried it, and it lasts and lasts and lasts. It does.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't
It
found
works.
anything that it's not going
Right.
to work well on.
Yeah.
And we're almost in our 20th year. And yeah, it's
Mhm.
still, I've
Mhm.
got old shirts I think I've mentioned before that I need to throw away, but the
Yeah,
embroidery is still pretty. So,
that's
I'm
right.
cleaning the house in them.
Yeah. So let's see. So Sharon Crowder says that she loves your Mylar designs, but she has one big request that the color change page include the marks for adding and removing. Well, they're already there, if I remember correctly, Patricia. Your
Yeah.
instructions have an excellent, like a green light and a stoplight, right?
Yep. Green dot and a blue a green dot and a red dot, like stop and
Right.
go, just as like you said. Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
there. So if for some reason you may be printing it out on a black and
Mhm.
white,
Mhm.
in black and white,
Mhm.
or some people will, there's a couple of things. Some people think that it will show up on their embroidery machine. Well, I haven't figured that one out yet, especially with all the brands. So it won't
Right.
show up on the embroidery machine.
No.
But others will open it up in their own
Mhm.
software. And
Mhm.
no, that won't tell you when. So we provide a detailed information on the color change chart for each design.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got videos that show how easy it is. So you can
Yeah.
see that actually
Mhm.
in the demonstration.
Right. And on your website at purelygates.com, there's links to some really fantastic videos that you teach the technique of how to do the Mylar. And what else? You have some other ones that are really quite good.
We do quilting using your embroidery machine. A lot of our collections will include a same themed quilt
Mhm.
motif and border. So one video shows you how to use the embroidery machine to
Mhm.
put that quilt motif behind your designs.
Mhm.
And then the other video shows you how to do border quilting.
Right.
We have garment embroidery. It's two parts, and it starts with a jacket with hard to hoop areas, flat fell seams,
Mhm.
sleeves. It goes into t-shirts, doing hoopless embroidery and design
Right.
placement. And I wanted, you mentioned the poly patch twill.
Yes.
So I've got this here.
Oh,
So
look at this jacket.
was embroidered. Let's see if I can get
Oh,
some
look
sparkle
at
going there.
that.
And I've got a sleeve too.
I love it. And so you used our twill, but does that look fabulous?
Yes.
Yeah.
So where this, I mean, this is not a novel idea using poly patch twill or using a twill on the back of a jacket, but I had a customer again in the booth come in. She goes, I really want to do a jacket for my granddaughter, but with all that work, she's going to outgrow it. And I said, poly patch twill.
Poly patch
Stitch
twill.
it once, put it on the back of that jacket. When she outgrows it, rip it off, put it on the next.
Yeah, put it on the next, right?
Yep. It just grows up with the child.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about that, like for somebody who owns a boat, you know, and like if you make them boat totes and, you know, one gets damaged, you just can rip it off.
Take it off.
Put it on the next one. Yeah. Okay, so Catherine wants to know, what design is it, that biker?
Mylar motorcycles.
Mylar motorcycles. Yeah,
There's 85 really cool designs in there. So you're not only getting the motorcycles, you're getting the designs with the eagles, the skulls. You're getting some stylized lettering like you like with the phrases paired with some of the motorcycles. And the quilt motif for that one is tire tread. Okay. So it's really cool.
Really, really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to helping out Sharon Croder. So she says, when trying to go back to a previous design, it's hard to find the page with the Mylar change symbols. What she requests is that it be included with the basic color change page. That is where it's included, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So when you go to a particular design in the PDF and you're following 1, 2, 3, 4, on one of those numbers, you're going to see a green dot behind the number, and then continue through, and eventually you'll see a red dot behind the number.
Right. So Sharon, maybe you're not printing out those instructions.
What collection is she using? About 98% of what we do is Mylar embroidery, but you may have one of the rare ones that are not created for Mylar.
Okay.
That could be the issue. You know what, Sharon, email me and we'll figure it out. Okay. So let's see. Well, I didn't need to. So the black thread turned the Mylar greenish. Well, you know, it's interesting because Mylar comes in one color, and it takes the color of either the thread or the fabric that it's sitting on, right? So it's kind of like the light because it is iridescent.
Right.
Depending upon the way you look at it, and it's picking up the different light. And I agree. I've seen some of my my black go a little bit green.
Yes.
But it's still going to look like a sparkly black.
Right. So anyway, okay. Let's see. And let's see, Colleen says, you better go to your website as no one locally in my area covers your designs. And yes, well, Colleen, you know, many sewing machine retailers today don't carry all the embroidery designs that are available to you as a machine embroiderer. So definitely we encourage you to go to Purely Gates, and some websites, like our friends at OESD, they allow you to pick your dealer, although you can shop right online on their website and still, you know, give a benefit to your dealer. So, but, you know, it's hard to stay in business today, right, Patricia, selling embroidery designs. So
exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, we're never out of stock. We have the ability of both, either getting a physical CD shipped to you or as a digital download. But the Mylar, you know, is always, if you're running out of Mylar, that is always be a shipped item.
Right.
You get with that.
But it lasts a long time.
Oh, yes.
Because you're only using little bits, and you save all those scraps, right? I know I do.
Yep. Anything you tear away, those oddball pieces, you're going to be using on another design.
Right. And there's our friend Joanne Banco. Pipe it in. She piped in.
Hey, Joanne.
Yeah, it's always lovely.
Saw her in Cleveland. So hey again.
Yeah, that's what she said. That's so nice. And let's see. Celeste says, think of all the women-owned businesses you have inspired. Well, you know, that is a joy of our industry, right, Patricia? There's so many women-owned businesses in our industry. Because, you know, we're all, it's a hobby we like, and then it turns into a business for many of us, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. And Anita says that she loves your designs, and
thank you.
She's going to see you again in 2026. Very nice.
Atlanta. Yep.
In Atlanta. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be really fun. Okay. Well, I have to share that. Oh, my right and left's always messed up. Look at these beautiful flowers that I guess I can bring them over here. That Patricia and her husband sent me in celebration of my retirement. And oh, they smell gorgeous. They are just, we have snapdragons, we have roses, a couple lilies. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much, Patricia.
You are deserving of so much more.
Oh,
I wanted to say about your Designs and Machine Embroidery magazine. It came out at the perfect time for me. And back when I started, embroidery was almost a lone sport.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I look forward to that next issue coming out each month. And the people that I talk to, friends and everything, and they're like, where do you learn? How do you do it? I said, Designs and Machine Embroidery, the Bible of embroidery. I promise you that is, yes. And what's funny is how everything has evolved. Y'all went to the online issues as well. Mm-hmm. And now we all benefit from online classes, YouTube videos.
Right.
All of that. Learning online. I mean, boy, I wish I had that back in the day, because it was just, it's great to learn from your mistakes, but it's also great to hear the mistakes someone else made so that you can avoid doing it before, you do that kind of thing.
And we were happy to share those mistakes, because really I was always just like my reader. I mean, I really created the magazine because I was struggling, and I knew everybody else was too. So it was just the right moment in time.
It was. And thank you for that, because it's great.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, and so many people are saying such kind things. And Ann Philbeck says that we'll say that now, and Ashley teaches software. Right. I mean, imagine, we were trying to teach software in the magazine a little bit, but that was so clunky.
Having it live.
Screenshots and stuff, and but now you watch these. Now there's video embedded in the software. It's amazing.
I know. And on the machines.
Yeah. I know.
They continue to do things that we never could have possibly guessed.
Yeah. Hilder says that she has all the magazines from Dime. Oh, that's sweet. We have them here too. Not a lot. We've saved, 2 copies of each. And once, we do go back and refer to them. And it's amazing the people that have been in Designs magazine, the different designers and artists and so forth. And when, somebody will say, well, do you remember so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, pretty sure they wrote for the magazine. We'll go back and take a look and find their work and then see where they've evolved to today. So it's really amazing.
One thing I really enjoyed was not only you had projects and information from beginner to advanced. And that's what I enjoyed. You didn't get bored. If you got past a certain level, you didn't get bored. There was always, oh gosh, I never would have thought of that, or it's a cool project, or I mean, I'm always willing to try anything, which is why we do what we do. But really appreciated that.
Thank you. And my mission was that to publish projects or clothing specifically that I would be willing to wear.
Yes, willing to wear. Yes.
Yeah. Like in public, not just in sewing show. Because
I can so relate to that.
Like what we're going to put hours and hours and hours into this project, and then not have nowhere to wear it. But anyway, so
that's what a quilt show's for. And nowhere else will you go somewhere wearing something that someone will come up and start touching your garment, and it's okay.
It is okay. That's
it is okay. Anywhere else that you kind of get that, what are you doing kind of thing. But at a show, you come up and go, oh, did you make that? Or, all of that. It's just, we're all a big happy family.
That's great. Well, I think you have some, something you want to share. Is that right?
Yes. I just wanted to update on the most current collections we have out.
Please do.
Yes. So we've got our cruise collection. That's one of our biggest collections yet. There's 113 designs, and a lot of the elements you see, you're also getting separate, so you can create your own layouts. This side like that design right here is made up of 4 designs. I've done the ship and the palm tree and the cocktails. So what we continue to try to do is create collections for you to incorporate into your project and give you as many potential, not give you ideas. Well, we give you ideas, but provide the potential for a lot of different types of projects. So cruise is really cool. Again, background quilting, border quilting on that. A lot of designs. Talked about, I'm not going to get this backwards every time. The hot air balloons, that's a fun one because it also comes with phrases. Again, can be used interchangeably with any of the different balloons. Our Mylar bears one with Mylar comes with a lot of phrases, really cute phrases. You can either pair them with the bears or you can have the phrases by themselves. Back to the cruise real quick. This is on the cruise collection. We get so much, I really want that design. It is part of the cruise collection. And if you're not a cruiser, there are quite a few designs in the collection that just, that are travel, travel kind of thing. So doesn't always have to say cruise. Let's see what else do I have hanging up here. I've got a few things from the Mylar Merry Christmas, which is about a year old. It's got a lot in it, covers the bases on anything you might be looking for regarding Christmas. And then our Kisses and Wishes one. This has been a lot of fun. We've had a couple of phrases in a few of the collections that include the Kisses and Wishes. So Tom and I were like, let's do a whole collection. This covers the whole year, the occasions, the holidays, the seasons. So they all incorporate Kisses and Wishes. I don't know if you can see some of the sparkle in that, but you're getting them in 8x8 and you're getting them all in 5x7. Now, what's nice about this, and this was perfect. So I was going to remember what this customer said. She came up, she goes, I really don't want to do a quilt. I don't have time to do such a big project. I just want to have fun. Well, when you do come to our booth, you're going to see all of these hanging, but all of these are individual banners. So you can stitch one of these out as the occasion's coming up. It's a doable, done, quick project. For each one of these. And then they all come with related designs. I'll show you real quick here. Some of those are in the border. So each of the phrases have at least 2 or 3 designs that are coordinating with it. And what I've done here is I have added them as little, ornaments to the bottom of the board.
Yeah.
And I have intentions of also making some and pinning them on top of it to make the whole design dimensional. So that's in the spare time coming up. But the 5x7s are great for kitchen towels. That vertical 5x7, I mean, perfect for a towel.
It fills that whole canvas.
It fills the whole canvas. Yeah. Yep. So endless on we're really, the projects are endless on all of these. We also have we have a new alphabet. So let me grab that one.
Let's see that.
Alphabet 3, when you're talking about lettering.
Look at them.
Here's some of them right here. I've also added in the center, I put some words that I've created. You're getting those as well, but I wanted to just show you how both styles will work together. But of course, you could stay in the same font as well. And then you're getting the numbers and that kind of thing. So that's fun. We've already had a lot of people put these on the cuff of a Christmas stocking.
Oh, very nice.
So that's fun. I'll show you briefly because this is my favorite design in this collection. This is how some of the bears are paired with some of the phrases.
Oh,
I just thought that was really cute. And you're getting the little guy in the bathtub by himself too. So it's
and the bubbles and the
bubbles.
Ducky. Oh, that's precious. But
it's so cute.
Your designs, you nail the details, the little accents that just brings a smile to everybody's face.
Yeah.
Really?
We really enjoy doing that. It's just the little hidden type of things that are fun to notice, and I think just makes it a complete design. It's
So when you're on the road, because you're spending a lot of time in the car, do you draw in the car? Is Tom drawing? Are you writing down ideas?
Tom does all the long distance driving, and I do all the in-town driving.
Okay.
And I've tried to digitize on the road, but it's too jiggly to do that.
Yeah,
You
it
need
is.
more of a precise
For
hand to do
sure.
that. And when I am digitizing,
Mhm.
when I see the design that I'm doing in my head, I've mentally worked it out. A to
Uh-huh.
Z, we're going to go from here to here.
Yeah.
So I need a full period of time to do one design, right?
Right.
Uninterrupted, don't break the chain of thought.
Yeah.
That's what I get at home. I did bring, at one point, I was traveling with a machine with no intention of doing it in the evenings in the hotel, but in the booth.
Mhm.
But it just became, people don't want to wait for a color change to see the magic. So
Yes.
we
Right.
have the videos online that show you how easy that is. And a lot of people, do you just embroider in the evening in the hotel? No, we're answering emails, we're filling orders, and
Right.
getting to bed for the next morning.
Yes, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
Noreen must have missed that towel that you showed, but she asked, would some of the designs work on tea towels? I would say all your designs really, almost all, right? Especially the
All of
5 by
them.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, because it's a Mylar design, they're often a lower stitch count than traditional embroidery designs. So if you have a soft linen towel, I mean, they'll stitch just gorgeous, right?
Yes, yes. And you'll be amazed how soft they are, especially once you wash. And this is true for any embroidery design. When you wash the item and it
Mhm.
gets washed a few times, it just keeps getting softer. I've got an
Yeah.
example in the booth
Mhm.
that I always let people crumple up and see how nice and soft it
Oh,
is.
that's good. That's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure
The
they appreciate
touchy-feely
that.
one.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Let's see. And then, Janice Carroll says, cactus and desert garden Mylar designs would be great.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. Okay. I
Yes.
thought you already had some, but okay, I guess not. And how do you purchase? People want to know. Oh, well, that is coming up. You have a little deal today, and not a little
We do
deal,
have
but
a
really
deal. Imagine that.
a generous deal. Okay, so now we got a lot of comments, and that says she likes the smaller wall hanging idea. Right, 8 by
Get it
8.
done.
Yeah, and it's a lovely size to fill a small space on a wall, right? We don't
Mhm.
have to have the giant artwork that covers the space above the couch,
You can
right?
do a pillow. You can do the bench
Yeah,
pillows that are
right.
these days, the
Mhm.
purses, any of that.
Yeah.
One of the things I always found fascinating through the years, well, actually in the earlier years too, is there's a lot of machine embroidery people that don't sew. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to sew. You can buy the jacket, you can buy the
Yeah.
bag, you
Right.
can do it that way. But what's funny is when they start sewing in a group of friends, they're
Mhm.
like, oh, is that all that takes to put that together? I think I can do that. So they
Right.
become sewers.
Right. I know a lot of us forget there's another side to the sewing machine, right? If you
Yeah,
take off that
yeah.
paragraph, it'll sew. So Peggy Ann Abrams wants to know, are background designs included in your collections? How is that? Or is it all part of
In a
the
lot of them. In
in
a
a lot
lot
of
of
it?
them.
Mhm.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it in this one. If you see the quilting in this one,
Mhm. Yep, we
okay.
see that. Yep.
There is actually, let me get okay. Anyway, the quilting
Yeah.
you see behind this design is the quilt motif included with the collection in 10 different sizes. So a lot of times I thought I was holding up the Christmas one, but like as a great example, Christmas, the background quilting is holly and berries.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so is the border quilting.
So
So
they're always coordinate.
they're always coordinated. But
Mhm.
for the collections, probably about year 9, we started
Mhm.
adding quilt motifs.
Mhm.
So for some of the collections that don't include the same themed quilt motif, we do have
Mhm.
4 collections that are nothing but quilting
Mhm.
that include borders too. And
Okay.
again, the videos that I've done show you
Mhm.
truly how simple it is. And if I'm in a hurry, I always do one of my samples. I long arm it because a lot of my customers do have a long arm. But if it's funny, I was laughing with a customer the other day. She goes, I can spend 2 hours trying to figure out what shape, what am I going to long arm on this thing? But with
Mhm.
these quilt motifs, I just put it on and move on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's quick, no thinking required because it's already, provided for you.
Right. Okay, so like KM, she wants to know, do you also provide information on what stabilizers to use with Mylar?
First of all, you're not going to stabilize just because it is stabilize any differently just because it's a Mylar embroidery design. But I do have a video that shows you the stabilizers that I use, either for like the cotton fabrics or for garments or something stretchy or hoopless embroidery. But I do want to say it is by no means the only way to stabilize and get the same results. There are so many different stabilizers, and I've gotten mine down to like 4 or 5 different that that are my go-tos. And in that time that I've been embroidering, so much new stuff has come out.
Right.
Well, I haven't tried any of the other stuff because what I got's working for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to, if you were learning about stabilizers, which is a big education when you get a new embroidery machine, see what other people are using and what they're having success with. And then you'll eventually cull it down to the ones that you like to use, you're having success with. But again, I do show you in videos on my website, the stabilizers that I use. And of course the dime and OESD stabilizers.
Sure.
And they always have been. So it's not something that I was influenced to do. Just love them. And OESDs, I've said this, I think again to Eileen before, the OESD Hydro Stick. If that ever goes away, I'm just going to stop embroidering. When I'm doing garments and stretchy items, love that. So
yeah, I don't think it's going away. I think you're safe. I think you're safe.
Good.
But Patricia's website is purelygates.com. That's where you can find her. So somebody just asked, please repeat the business name. So
and we've got, it's not just embroidery designs. We only sell in collections. We've got 183 different collections. Some of them are huge. But we also sell, obviously, the packaged Mylar, the exquisite thread. We sell that in kits and single spools. We have for any dimensional embroidery, not freestanding lace, but dimensional embroidery, like we're showing here, or cookies, that kind of thing. We have our Pure Shape product, and then we have templates called Pure View. And I have videos that show you why you need these.
Oh, awesome.
But not only is it pure view, meaning you can trim out your design, trim out your blocks that you've embroidered visually rather than going by lines on a ruler that you always mess up like I do. And it's a savings. Watch the video. You see how you can save on your fabric and your stabilizer that you normally cut off and throw on the floor or in the trash can. So that's available there. Polypatch twill is there. Stabilizers are there. Anything else, Tom? Nope. Okay. It's a lot. So because we have all this fun stuff, and because it is Eileen, and we always do this only with Eileen,
that's right.
We're having a special in honor of you. So thank you for allowing me to brag on you and brag on us. So it's 15% off everything, and we never do that except with you, Eileen. So it's
that's right.
The code is DIME. Does it have to be all uppercase, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. Uppercase DIME 15, and that's good through Sunday at midnight Central Time. And we're going to show you here the position you put that code in is actually in the cart. And here's an example of the cart. And you're going to see in that lower left corner where it says coupon. Once you type it in there, you have to hit the word apply. And then you'll see that take the dollars off.
Yeah. So 15% is so generous, Patricia. I mean, I know as a small business owner, it's hard to give a discount. And to do that from today, the 5th, all the way to the 8th. I mean, you are kind of giving up a lot, 15% of everything that you'll sell over these couple of days. So,
well, you're very kind.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I know our viewers are really grateful for that too. Because remember, this is product that's not ever on sale on the website. Now, when you're at a show, I know you offer specials, but that's in the show, just at the show. Right. So this Dime 15 is available to everybody. So thank you so much, Patricia. I'm sure they're going to love that.
Well, thank you, Eileen. I mean, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you. And when I heard you were retiring, it was kind of like one of those.
I know.
So, yeah.
But, you know, Patricia, I've been so blessed and I have good health. And I have family members that would like to spend more time with me. I lost a sister at at 64 years old. Nancy Zeman was 64. Deborah Jones never got to retire. So, it
makes you think.
Enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Count my blessings, and the best is yet to come. So
I do have one question for you, though.
Sure.
Now that you are going to have me time, what project do you have in mind you're going to do for yourself?
Well, I love to quilt. I really do love to piece and quilt. And so I'll do more of that. And I also recently got into hand embroidery, and I love the portability of it. I love the texture that you can achieve. I'm not getting rid of my machines, my embroidery machines. I will definitely continue to embroider. I really love patches because they're kind of easy to make, and like there's something for everybody. Here, let's go to that overhead cam. Like my cousin Pat Mulligan was a captain with American, an airline pilot, and that's his last flight from Honolulu to Dallas. And, I made him, it was really a moment for me to be there and celebrate him with a dinner and cake and all of that. And then I made these patches for all of his family, all of us that were able to attend, here in Dallas. And so, stuff like that. And
that's the personal thing that you really get the most out of your embroidery machine with.
Exactly. And like this road trip stuff, like patches and like your girl trip that you made a big patch on. I mean, that stuff is fun.
Yeah.
And, so I'll still keep creating for sure. There'll be lots of embroidery in my future. And like I said earlier in the program, if they need me here, I'm just a phone call away. So not burning any bridges.
Well, nice. Enjoy the family, enjoy the grandkids. I know that's important. Yeah.
It is. It sure is. And thank you, Christine Connor, for joining us, and Patricia and Tom, both of you. You don't see Tom, but he's in the background. And that's Patricia's husband, who's a sweet man. You'll meet him at the booth in Kansas City next week if you get there, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Patricia. It's been an honor to work with you.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone for watching.
Oh, yeah. It's really fun to have everybody here. And I hope that you'll join me next week when I have Deanna Springer in place. Oh, let me catch up with my slides here. Oh, Ashley Jones is going to be here. Well, she's doing her software success on the 17th. That's a Tuesday. And she will be here with me next week just for a short time to talk a little bit about software before I welcome Deanna Springer from Nancy Zeman Sewing Studio and Quilt Shop in Beaver Dam. Deanna is also the, I don't know what her real title is there, but I'm going to say she's the show coordinator of Wisconsin, the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show that Patricia is going to be vending at in September. So we have so much to talk about. Deanna and I worked together for over 20 years, and it'll be fun to reconnect. And you can bring all your Nancy Zeman questions, and she's a powerhouse. You're going to love it. So I look forward to being back with you next week. And as I said, we're going to continue through through the end of July, and you're going to meet some great industry people. We're going to have a lot of fun. So thank you for joining me today, and have a good week. We'll see you next week.